the line. Look at that defense from Krasowski, immediately covering off Olivier, but Olivier chucks it down into hell corner, and it looks like he's got a better exit too. They're now going to drag race up to Griffin's Bend.
Yes, they are. Here they're going to be in that straight drag race, and that's going to be Genet trying to hold on behind in that Lamborghini to see if there's anything to be had. Absolutely nothing there between the two of Krasowski and Olivier.
Krasowski's going to have the inside, but he doesn't break quite as deep. That outside is hard to hold on to, and that is why Olivier, a spin though, up at the front. Everybody tries to scatter to the inside. Krasowski falling all the way to the back. Will he get hit? No. Absolutely sends it into Sunset Bends, and cutting back underneath. We're going to go 3 wide onto the main straight and almost cutting across. Newhook nearly gets hooked himself, and thankfully has just enough space to go by Danny Cervantes. Cervantes using that slipstream to catch back up and see if he can keep Kings behind him. Kings has the desired inside line, and once again an over-under potentially no. Ryan Kings now into P3. Another attack from Reynolds, attempted into the inner loop, again, does not stick.
He peeks his nose to the inside through the carousel one more time. They've got a lap car up ahead of him. When are they going to catch it? Can Reynolds capitalize as he now peeks to the outside? And they're side by side.
If he can keep here, he'll have the inside down into the toe of the boot, and he does. He's got the overlap. This could be job done. If he can manage to get in front and a little too deep into the corner. Schutt has to give it up, tries to square it off, looks for maybe a better exit, and I think he's got it. The lap car helps him. He's going to try and fight back. Reynolds now gives him a taste of his own medicine as he covers the inside, breaking deep, down into the heel of the boot. They carry on side by side. Has he got the inside into turn 9? I think he might. He could have this one back. This will be an incredible fight back here from the 31, and he's got it. It's closer than he's been before, and it's a white flag lap now. Does he try and get it here? Or does he wait till later? This seems like a good opportunity for me. And indeed, he's once again going to be on the inside for De La Rosa, but this will be the outside into Curva Grande. Will we see Laus Stolson start to come back forward on him?
They got
Don't
traffic.
forget about Iamaki as well. And they're going to have to stay off to the side. Oh, no, they come together. They come together, and that's going to send Oulton into a horrible tumble while Iamaki carries on with the lead. After a brief jaunt over in the States last round, we've come back to the UK. But much like Silverstone, this British track will be a tiny affair. Oulton Park's Foster's layout is short, narrow, and difficult. Will it catch out any drivers? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Sunday Drivers' Cup, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Since Oulton is more of a club-level circuit, some fans may not have heard of it. Let's head to our track guide to learn a little bit more about it. Welcome to Oulton Park Circuit. This British track to the southeast of Liverpool is a staple in the UK club racing scene, but has also hosted series as high level as Formula One a few times. At least with a small asterisk next to those events since they were non-championship rounds. The history and the lore of the venue is as unique as the layout itself. But that layout is more than just the international circuit this place is known for. An incredible 8 different versions can be run, but they all range between 1.5 to 2.5 miles in length. It's not exactly a long lap around here. What it lacks in that realm, it more than makes up for in bumps and hills. On top of that, Oulton Park offers some very fast corners, so you certainly won't get bored. Turns like Island Bend, Knickerbrook, and Druids can be utterly fearsome depending on which chicanes are at it. But even the slower corners often involve blind crests or kinked entries, making passing a very difficult prospect. In modern day, the place is mainly visited by touring cars, GT cars, motorcycles, and Formula 3. But here on iRacing, it's quite popular with the vintage community. Needless to say, this is a track that carries on the British tradition of fast, old-school style circuits that challenge and thrill drivers. It'll no doubt be a blast for both our competitors and fans today. Well, we've covered Oulton Park's regular circuit, the longer version, plenty of times here, DJ, but the Foster circuit, this is going to be a trip.
It is indeed, Joe, and a lot of what we normally see around Oulton Park in terms of overtaking opportunities going to be a little bit changed this time around. These MX-5s should have a pretty decent time around here. Plenty of heavier braking zones, specifically Foster's and Lodge. Those are going to be the two best places to look for an overtake. But as with any time that you run Oulton Park, you've got to watch out for the weight transfer here, both laterally and longitudinally over the course of the cars. There's a lot of elevation change, and these cars kind of want to drift back and forth, so very, very crucial to make sure you are on it constantly, as if you get off into the grass at any of these faster corners like Druids or Old Hall, it's going to be a one-way ticket to disaster.
We've seen plenty of accidents out here at this track and just about any format that's been run. But as we take a look at the Drivers' Championship, currently Tom Daly leading the way, not by a whole lot though. Xavi Lopez about 11 points back. And then look down in third, fourth, and fifth. It's 20, 21, and 21. So we got a tie for fourth, and then Peter Reed only a single point ahead of Oliveira and Ellett. It should potentially spread apart a little bit today, but let's head over to the Teams Championship in the meantime, DJ.
Well, Joe, in that Teams Championship, it's just about as spread out as on top, with Wampy Motorsports leading SimTech Racing by about 12 points. But there, yet again, another very, very tight battle with Spirit 14 and Positive Delta Motorsports tied 17 points back, only 5 off of SimTech. And TGR, they're only 4 points back of Positive Delta, so very close all the way around.
Meanwhile, in the Nations Cup, we saw there was a bit of a tie for fourth in the drivers. Same thing over here. Brazil and Finland finding themselves at 18 apiece. The UK only 16 points back from our leader, Ireland, with Spain smack dab in the middle. But Ireland seems to be leading the way so far in this series. Now, as for today's race details, DJ, what do we have in store?
Well, Joe, it is the second of 20 rounds here in this very long series. It's going to be a 13-lap race out there with a fixed setup. There will be bonus points available for pole, which drivers are currently going out on track for. And I'm actually just hearing word that it's going to be a 24-lap race, so a little bit more time. But yeah, you get those bonus points for pole and for fastest lap,
which they're heading out for the pole position now. And normally when drivers are just heading out to try and set a time, we talk about needing to wait a little bit before they'll be able to put one on the board. But with the track being so short around here, it's not going to be very long before we start seeing them trickle in. And what's interesting is it is an open qualifying with only these 10 minutes. Now, a minute 20 around here, they'll get some chances, but finding some clear air, I think, is going to be a little bit tough, DJ.
I think it is as well, and drivers are going to be very, very happy that these cars are not aero dependent, so you're not going to really have to worry about that aero wash upsetting the balance of the car. But trailing behind a driver a little too close is still going to compromise you, because you're going to have to be braking for them rather than braking on your own preferred line. So I think if any drivers are able to find just a little bit of breathing room, it's going to be massively beneficial.
Looks like Daly and Ware are going to be our first two to be able to set a time as they fly through Denton's down into Cascades. And it looks like he is going to hit his marks. That is a very tricky one as the car bottoms out into there and then opens up here into Knickerbrook immediately after they're dumped out of Foster's. And you can see they're already halfway done with the lap as it is.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a stone's throw from that race that we had last time out at Daytona, where there were the long laps that were getting taken around there. But you watch Daly there, keeping everything woed up underneath him very well, using that body roll in the MX-5 to his advantage to carry momentum out to the outside portions of the track, gathering everything up back under him. He looks like he's doing very well. Little bit of a right front lock up there, but that shouldn't hurt him too much.
All right, who's got what underneath them as they come to the line? And it looks like Sander with a 107.181. Daly is not able to go quicker in that, as he was given the slipstream, which shouldn't be too powerful here, but it does count for at least a tenth or two, I'm sure. Zegalar puts one on the board as Pollock in the 71 finds himself up into third, and now it is all streaming in.
Yes, indeed it is. A couple of drivers popping off into pit lane there. You see the 27 going a little bit wide. That's Alders. That's not going to be great for him. Pedro Marimon going to pop into 12th right now. Zvenitov is going to be in 7th. Looking like some quick drivers here, and not a lot separating them out, but the top 10 only separated by 1 second.
That's to be expected with such a short lap. So first time by. Looks like only 16 cars able to set a time. Not sure if there's others that they're just having that much trouble trying to keep it on a clean lap, as Daly has a bit of an issue there with the tail wagging around through Foster's, and that will definitely make him that much more slower. Rene Ware is now on the board in the number 33 in 19th, last of the drivers with a time currently, and shockingly, first through 19th is actually a pretty wide gap, but maybe that'll thin up as they start to get some laps on the board and get the tires up to temperature. We're now watching James Austin, one of those that still needs to get a time.
Indeed, Austin bringing that car through the corner of Lodge. There he goes. Michael Ellett up to the top of the charts. Let's see if Austin's able to do anything good here. He's going to come across with a 108.4. Is that lap going to stick? It doesn't look like it.
Nope, but Xavi Lopez is into third. Second lap for him counted, and that is less than a tenth off of our leader. So top three split by 0.09 of a second right now. It's Austin, Ride, Jerhus, Bacchus, Dalemans, and Oral that still need to set a time. Everybody else that you don't see a time for is not taken out to the track. They might try and start from the back here to see what erupts in front of them, because it could be a bit messy, and who knows, maybe it is going to be a bit like a super speedway race, and you don't want to start in the mid-pack.
Indeed, could be a definite time. Here's Scotty Angelo putting up a 6th best time. Bacchus able to get a time on the board to go 19th. Waiting for Lopez here to see if he's able to go any better. Rodriguez able to bump his way up to P9. Some fast times still out there and available, Joe.
Lopez on his second lap. Is this one going to be quicker? No, a 7.4. Unfortunately, while Austin still gets his lap deleted on lap 3 of his flyer. So James Austin is starting to feel the pressure now. Looking to see if any of our other drivers are close to finishing. I see Brett Ride coming through. Somebody veers off the course to the right-hand side. I'm not sure if that was to get out of the way or what, but that was a bit messy as well. And Brett Ride in the 70 finally puts one down. That'll put him into 24th.
Ride still waiting for about 6 or 7 drivers to put their times down as we watch Scotty Angelo currently in 8th place, only 0.05 of a second off of Sousa directly ahead of him. He's going to be coming to the line right here. Is this going to be good for Scotty? He had a couple of green laps there. Yes, it is. That's P4.
Wow. Okay, so Scott Angelo is now within a 10.5 of our lead, getting ever closer to those in front. Top 5. How tight is this going to wind up in the end? Still looking for also Sven Dalemans. Looks like Vorders needs a lap. He's popped out there finally and has started on qualifying. Stephen Oral now is on the board, a 107.7. That'll be good enough for 12th for him, as we ride on the plunge down through Denton's. And then, well, Cascades usually is a longer sweep to the left. This one, it's just a little breeze. And now, wow, he closes up big time. And look how much curb they can take down through Foster's.
Very close there. That is going to compromise both drivers' lap times. By the way, Austin finally able to get a time on the board. Good enough for 18th.
This Pollock that we're riding on board with there in the 71, right now sitting in 7th place. And 3 minutes left to go. So about 3 more laps for many of the drivers here today. And you can see just how many of them are out there. There was some off in the distance there that were vying for position. And even Pavel here had to overtake Mann in the process. So not expecting this to be a quick one, but you never know. He's going to come through Deer Leap. Let's see what he's got.
He's going to come across the line here. The 71. That doesn't look like an improvement. No, it is. He's up to 5th.
107.391. That's within 2.5 tenths of our pole sitter, which is still Elliott. No, it's Lopez. And he sets a good marker. 1.5 tenths ahead of Elliott. Now, Lopez finds himself finding a lot more speed out there. A few drivers trying to just pull out of the way of some if they're not on a hot lap. Just trying to be respectful of their competitors and nearly making contact here. Xavi Lopez almost running into Rantanen there in the 36, who sits in 21st. Cavisto, we're wondering where he was. A 107.1 puts him into third.
And what's interesting here with these closing stages is that Michael Elliott opted to come into pit lane, get a new car, and come back out again. So his last couple of laps will be on fresh rubber. We'll have to see if that is an advantage or a disadvantage here. Track temperature is only about 81 degrees Fahrenheit. So just in that Goldilocks zone, but it'll still take a little bit of time for them to come up to full temp.
And we've seen in the past, these MX-5s do often need about a lap or two to try and get up to speed, as Xavi's going to hold off to get himself some space onto the front stretch. That was Stefan Alderding who went by him. Alderding's lap got deleted, though, or that was an out lap for him, one or the other. So Xavi now on one last flyer. It's going to be just enough time, actually, I think, to do one more after this if the Spirit 14 driver... Oh, no, he's going to pull over. Wasn't happy with it. So he's got to hustle back around and hope that he can start one more.
Exactly, just line himself up, but he does not want to necessarily be stuck behind anybody like we see on your screen right here. That is the 62 leading the number 2 of Michael Elliott. That is not going to be helpful for him, and that contact isn't either, Joe.
Yeah, that definitely deletes the lap right there. And I see Sander Ware coming around the final turn. He's only had one of his laps count, the number 7. So let's see. Being followed by Zagalar and Zvedanov in front of him. He crosses the line. It's a 111.2. That's definitely not a good one. One more shot at it for Sander.
Yeah, he'll have one more bite at the apple. He's got a little bit of breathing room ahead of him. That's Zvedanov right there, and that should be just enough to be able to take advantage of the draft, but he's not going to have to back up in the corners too much.
Lopez just crossed the line without 3 seconds to go. And now we got the checkered flag out. Looks like Merrimon is the first one to get that. He does not improve. Albino doesn't either. Albino, excuse me. And behind him, Van Rassel does. He goes up into 25th in the meantime. As we continue to watch some of our farther up drivers cycle around on the lap. Tom Daly, our points leader, looks like he's on a slow one, so he is not going to improve this time by. And coming down, Zvedanov and Ware, seeing if there is anything in it. 19th for Iordinen, excuse me. And he is going to have to really try and push it here to see if he can manage to jump up the order. A 107.5, that'll do it. And that gets him up into 10th. But it looks like Sander was slow by about a 10th on that one. He'll stay in 4th.
Exactly, waiting for the last couple of drivers. Ooh, that's going to be a big off track there, and indeed diving down pit lane. Now the Spirit 14 driver seeing if there's anything good to be had. I see Alderding able to get up into 15th. That is Lopez. He's not going to improve on that lap, I believe, so he will stay top of the charts.
And that's everybody across. Before we get to the grid, we want you to make sure and check out the Majors Garage, home of free Baseline Plus setups. Get help from any of the garage coaches 24/7. Sign up now for awesome, affordable monthly subscriptions, telemetry, coaching, and more by simply clicking on our link in the description below. Also, if you use our special discount code, MajorsGSRC, you'll get 10% off. With that, our grid for today sees Xavi Lopez taking the bonus for pole. It is Michael Elliott who will be starting in 2nd place and Kalle Cavisto in 3rd. After that, Sander Ware only able to get 4th with his first lap of the day as Scott Angelo starts in 5th. Pavel Pollock will be in 6th, followed by Tom Daly in 7th. To his outside, it is Stephen Orrell. Mackenzie Mann starts 9th with Iordinen Zvedanov in 10th.
Lining up in 11th, that'll be Martin Smith, followed by Nuno Sousa, with Peter Reed and Alvaro Rodriguez in 14th. Stefan Alderding will line up to the inside of row 8, with Leif Dierhus in 16th, Patrick Eilders in 17th, and Aaron McGrath in 18th. Kylie Ratsonen will line up to the inside of row 10, and James Austin rounds out your top 20.
Then it's Bruno Albino as Pedro Marimon starts to his outside. Rene Zegelar will be in 23rd. Amanula Backus, starts from 24th. Willem van Rassel in 25th. Then it's Brett Ride, P26. Victor Oliveira in P27, followed by Rene Ware in 28th. Arturo Davila starts 29th, and Leon Vorders, the last one to set a time, in 30th. Zamansky, Delamons, and Mitchell going to be lining up at the back of the grid. They do look to be in the session, so we should see them racing here today as we get ready for round 3 here of the Sunday Drivers' Cup. Lopez on the pole as the engines now start to rev. The lights are up and the green flag is out. Lopez with a decent looking start there down to the inside. Ellett, though, is starting to creep forward on him. He could try and challenge, but covering him off. Lopez says no, shuts the door. They now head through Old Hall. Already a little side-by-side contact. I think that was between Angelo and Pollock. And otherwise, not seeing anybody off in the background right now.
I think it was Aaron McGrath in the back who had a very, very scary ride, but able to keep that MX-5 underneath him as they break down now into Cascades and Fosters, trying to bring everything down relatively even. Pollock and Oral now really starting to fight it out in the back, but up front, it is relatively calm.
Nice, good start from everybody so far. Not any offs at all from the drivers up at the front. Lopez and Ellett leading the way. Before at Daytona, it was a slipstream battle. It was who could time it right and where. But here, will we see the same? Oh, look at this. Already defending. Lopez does not like the looks of the number 2 to his outside as he breaks hard down into Lodge. Can't quite get by there, but already attacking the leader.
Yeah, lots of good pressure being applied there. Same thing with Scott Angelo and Sander Ware in the back. Here you see Ellett trying to poke his nose to the inside, just getting into the head a little bit.
Oh, and we did have a bit of a pileup coming out of Lodge. Looks like Zegelar is involved in that. Rantanen, I see Mitchell off the course, and McGrath. So we'll have to try and come back to that a little bit to check out exactly what started it. Back up to our leaders, still having to defend slightly. Lopez is discovering that Ellett is not going to sit around and wait for the right time.
No, he is not. It is full attack mode here for Michael Ellett, really trying to push that number 2 forward as hard as he can. You see him just constantly poking his nose this way, and that little bit of a Pruitt fade there for Lopez.
And indeed, almost able to get inside. Ellett does force him out wide. He leaves the door open. Lopez could find himself overtaken after only 2 laps here for the lead. Ellett round the outside as they get the overlap. Braking hard into Lodge, goes for the over-under, but he doesn't quite have the speed, although he does get up alongside him once again.
Yes, he does. This battle's going to continue on here as they go. Oh, Lopez with a very sharp cut there. I'm amazed they didn't make contact.
Now they did. They came together, and Ellett has to hold on to it as behind him. Cavisto's going to try and take advantage. Sander managed to get by his teammate Lopez, and it looks like Tom Daly also able to overtake the former leader, and now you've got Ellett in the lead. Cavisto second, his teammate, and third for Sander Ware.
Oh my goodness, absolute calamity firing off here as now, as you said, this whole order is replaced and we still have great battles going on through the field. Looking back in the back there.
Wow, that shook things up immensely, and I gotta think that we're gonna be seeing that start to cause more battles as drivers with better pace come back through. And they now get ready to complete lap 3, and this is just absolutely kicked off immediately.
Yeah, it really has. And if you look there, Daly with a very late move. Excuse me. Yeah, Daly with a very late move on Lopez, trying to get up around. He's got it done. That was awesome.
So now managing to get himself past, and Oral looks pretty fast. Sander Ware is very slow for some reason, being overtaken by Svetanov now. And they come through Old Hall. Svetanov around the outside getting loose. It looks like Ware is going to lose more positions. No, causes a big checkup behind him. Pollock and Reed have nowhere to go, essentially. And weaving down the hill into Foster's. Are we going to cover off the inside? Reed does. And everybody's getting checked up. We get a little bit of, unfortunately, some coming together. Looks like Rodriguez and Austin are tangled.
Yes, indeed. I think Zvedanov also may have gotten a little bit caught out by that as well. Lots of drivers falling down through the field as, Joe, you need an extra set of eyeballs to be able to keep track of everything that's going on. Ooh, another good battle coming on in the mid-pack.
Yep, this is Pollock still battling with Reed. Reed to his outside as they come out of Druids down into Lodge, all the way to the inside for a brief moment. Pollock is battling hard, and as long as he gets the run, he is clean. He is going to stay in 7th place. Reed now finds himself being challenged by Mann in the number 11, who comes up along his right side, but then backs into the line. He's not willing to risk it here.
Yeah, not the heaviest of braking zones is Old Hall, but that check up there from Mann, that's allowing Sousa and Alderding to also close up behind. It's this domino effect that we keep seeing up and down the field here.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to take a look at the opening wreck at some point. It has been action-packed. Someone's making a dive down there into Foster's, and that looks like that is Sousa, who is working alongside Alderding, and Alderding gets the job done out of Knickerbrook, eventually overtaking the 65. Looks like Alders now is going to try and get through as well. So the teammate of Alderding, is he going to be completely through? Yes, into Druids. He now slides into 11th. Oh, but he goes too deep, and he's going to get a shove to the side. Off into the grass as Sousa claims that spot right back.
My goodness, I thought for a second there that Alders may have gone a little bit wide, and that's exactly what happened as we jump up to the battle for P2. They're side by side with Cavisto and Daly.
Daly's got the inside, and Cavisto cannot hold him back. Through goes the number 67. So last season's champion Cavisto now finds himself slotted into 3rd as we come down through Cascades. And I thought maybe he was going to take a look. Our leader's starting to hit traffic. Elliott has come up on Davila, and that holds him up. That brings all 3 together on the podium here at the front of the field.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten a chance to talk about traffic, but with such a short little circuit like this, it is certainly going to play havoc on these drivers. Look here at Cavisto. I think he's trying to have a little bit of a fight back here on Daly. Very, very close to the rear end of that 67 machine.
So as they come down once again, it still looks like Daly is the one that's got to worry more than Elliott. Ooh, that was a late look down to the inside as Daly tries to poke his nose. That slows him up a little bit, and he knows it. He tries to cover off. Now he comes back to the racing line. The Finn following him down the main straight. There's the defense once again from Tom Daly into Old Hall. Shallow entry, but he doesn't suffer from it.
No, he doesn't. He's able to keep Callie behind him for now, and that'll be helpful. Oh, in the back, Xander Vare going off through the first corner. That's going to open up the door here a little bit to Pollock. Is he going to have the look down into Cascades?
Just starts to fall back a little bit as now they break for Foster's once again, but he's strong coming over the curb, much more the inside, way out into the grass there for Ware, and he finds himself slipping into 7th. He's been having a rough time here since the start of the race.
Yeah, he certainly has, Joe, and his troubles aren't going to be done. That's Peter Reed coming up directly behind him as well. That could make this a little bit spicy if he wants to as they go down into Druids.
Through the double apex right-hander, keeping it from going wide out into the grass over that little crest at the end. And Sander seems to have it under control now at this point. No pit stops, remember, in this series. It is straight from start to finish for the drivers. So this is a sprint to the end of those 24 laps. And looks like Oral is going to go to bit defensive there. Oh, and up at the front, do we have another battle? We do, this time for the lead. Elliott versus Daly.
Yeah, Daly had a bit of a look there to see if he could get anything going into Old Hall Corner, had to back out of it. And the question is that going to open up the door to Cali Cavisto as these two continue to pull away from Xavi Lopez as Pollock in the back has gotten around to Oral. They're side by side, it looks like.
No, it looked like Oral actually went off track. My goodness, Oral having to find his way back to the black stuff. He went side by side and then just escaped off into the runoff there. Thankfully, did not hit anything or anyone. That'll send him down into 7th. Still, it is a battle between himself and Ware. It looks like that's Reed behind him. Mackenzie Mann, it's a whole string of cars along with Alderding sitting back, looking for the braking, coming into Lodge Corner. Closest two are going to be Reed and Mann, but no change of position between any of the 5.
No, and it looked like there. Ooh, as we've got to come back from the battle here for P2. Cavisto not letting this go quietly. Daly with a very, very late apex into Old Hall. He's going to be able to keep the momentum up, though, and keep Cavisto behind him for now.
Tom Daly now finding himself under pressure after looking in his windscreen instead, trying to chase down Michael in that number 2. Just missing out on the championship last season out of Foster's. Nothing separating these 3. Lopez has been trying to gain back on them. And actually, let me take a look at the laps here, see if he is any quicker. And it looks like not really.
He was able to gain back a little bit on laps 6 and 7, Joe, but on that last lap when things separate out a little bit more, that's not a good run for Daly there coming through Druids. Here comes Cali Cavisto. Is he going to have to make this run down into Lodge? They're side by side.
He's got the inside, but he breaks early, and that's not going to give him the spot, so Daly retains second place. There was also a defense from Ellett, despite being very far ahead from the pair, and that actually looked like it cost him time. So now Daly is back in it once again.
My goodness. Oh, and that line he takes through Old Hall every time. I think it is going to cause impact, but he is somehow able to get that number 67 machine stopped in just the nick of time.
I know we've been spending a lot here with these front runners, but really this has been some fantastic action, and they have not spread apart far enough that we can look away, as that time through Lopez with a 107.4. Cavisto ran a 107.8. So yeah, he is just kind of chipping away slightly. Might be a few more laps, but he could yet be a part of this battle for the overall lead.
Yeah, just trying to take as much out of it as he can, but this battle between these top 3, Joe, every time you blink, it seems like somebody else is on the attack. It's just never ending.
Ooh, and behind them, here we go. Some more action, this time with Ware making a defense on Oral. Ooh, drifts back to the racing line. Didn't quite leave him a car's width, but thankfully Steven was not side by side at the time. He's got to watch out for that. Behind them, Reed, Mann, Alderding still in the hunt. This is all for 6th position with the white and yellow of Ware up at the front of the train. Oh, through Old Hall. And whoa, way off the circuit there goes Oral, as back up to the front there. We look for a brief moment, and using that extra speed, Oral almost able to make an overtake, but it looks like not quite.
Yeah, I thought for a second he was going to do that, but just not able to get it done. Choosing discretion is the better part of valor there on lap 11. That's a good play, just getting close to halfway through this race. He's got to be a little bit careful. He'll try to preserve as much as he can so he can have a good fight towards the end.
Coming up into Druids once again, one little slip up is going to be costly amongst this quintet. Oh, we got to go back to the lead because Daly is trying to defend on Ellett. Ellett around the outside, and no, he's not going to have it. Daly retains it.
Yeah, Daly able to hold on to the lead here, but Ellett now going to try to fight back as they cross over the start-finish stripe to work on lap 12. Remember, Daly very, very aggressive into this corner. You can see just how much of a later apex he's going to take there. He's been trying to work on this move for several laps. Is he going to maybe be able to start to streak away a little bit now?
Did we cover Daly taking that lead away? Because it suddenly hit me that he was behind him before, wasn't he? And as he comes through Foster's, he goes way wide, but thankfully does not lose the spot. He took that coming out of Lodge a couple laps ago. So Michael Ellett up or down to second and trying to fight back to get it.
Oh, and Pauly Pollock and Xavi Lopez here side by side on the run out of Cascades through Knickerbrook. I think that's a little bit of a lift there from Lopez, just letting him on by, not wanting to fight on that one.
He wasn't that close to him before, so he must have run him down. That's interesting that Pollock is looking mighty fast out there today. Qualified 6th. He's now up to 4th as we got a car off there. That's Bride and down in 18th, who's gone for a ride in 2 more cars, taking out some cones, Albino and Van Rassel.
Yeah, just missing the braking zone there down into that corner. We check back on that battle in the quintet. Alderding now under a little bit of pressure here from Mackenzie Mann in the back. As in the up front of that, it looks like Ware and Oral starting to space out slightly.
Giving themselves a chance to relax if you can find a place around here to relax at all. It is just non-stop around this short little track. Coming And contact between Ware and Oral. They're going to bang wheels once again, and this is slowing them up. Here comes maybe 3 wide through Knickerbrook. No, thankfully not. That was Reed giving a look at it and then deciding against, and now he shoves off Alderding. Alderding run off the road to the right-hand side, and he has to check up to avoid a big incident.
Yes, he does, Joe. I don't know how all 5 of those cars remain pointed the same way. Absolutely incredible action there.
So after being single file for a little bit, it erupts into madness here in this group, fighting for 6th place. Little wide there for Oral, but Reed can't capitalize. He's slow off the corner. Whoa, off into the grass for Man, who almost spins as he brings it back onto the track. That could have been a good position for him if he hadn't have lost that momentum there. And down to his inside, Alderding says, I'll take care of that, and he gets himself into 9th.
That was a good heads-up play from Alderding. You could kind of see him planning that out from the moment that he saw Mackenzie Mann run wide. Very, very good stuff. Now he's got to try to gain up because that little bit of fighting has cost them time up to Peter Reed. The gap is closed down to about 0.5 of a second here, but Alderding's still got to try to push ahead.
And we don't need to go to it, but just an update. Ellett and Daly have pulled away from Cavisto now at the top of the field, so that's spread apart finally. And this is where now the fun has started to become the big show. Coming out of Druids here with Sander, looking to defend from Oral last time around. He was trying to make a move into Foster's, maybe into Lodge. He thought about it and then came back to the racing line.
Yeah, not going to go for it there. And I've got to think here that drivers now need to think about conserving their stuff a little bit. These tires aren't exactly going to go away, but you need to make sure you don't overheat them and leave yourself susceptible to a little bit of understeer coming through these corners. So that's what they've got to be thinking of about now.
Alderding, after getting that 1 spot, is ready to try and get 1 more back as well, as he is right on the back of Reed, and Oral is on the back of Ware. Coming down into Foster's once again. Looks very marginal through that turn. Trying to get set up, and marginal enough that Ware goes off. Here goes Oral through. He's into 6th and coming together. They get turned around. They get turned around and block the path. That is not only Mann who collects in them, but Reed, who made the initial contact. And unfortunately, they're going to have to work their way back onto the track safely. It was a massive incident there.
It was indeed just a miscommunication across the board, as that was Ware almost getting coddled up again there. Jeez Louise, just some ridiculous action happening on track.
So Alderding took advantage of that. He's now up a couple spots into 7th. Oral has run away laughing in 6th place with nobody chasing him now. And Sousa also gained a number of spots. He wasn't even a part of that fight. He's up to 8th. And something happened to Ellett. He's off course. So is Cavisto. Where is Tom Daly in this? He's way up the road trying to deal with the lap traffic. Is this involved?
Yes, it was the lap traffic, the number 39, that it looked like it just put off Ellett as he came through Old Hall, and Cavisto caught up in it as well.
He had to take avoiding action. That slowed him down, and Cavisto didn't know what to do in the situation himself. That was bizarre stuff, and it's been a boon to Tom Daly as we continue to watch Ellett. And, now Pollock. Pollock is caught up to Cavisto. So it's a 3-car fight for 2nd place, was the lead is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, 5 seconds up the road here for Tom Daly. Really, really good stuff from him. Pollock now on the attack hard. He's going to have a little bit of a crossover as they make the move over Deerleap.
And they come together as well. He didn't anticipate he had the car up alongside him. He holds onto it, and through Old Hall, Pollock's got the better run, but he's going to be on the outside of Cascades. Will that give him enough for the inside? They're going to come together a second time, and he turns him. A pit maneuver as Ellett goes all the way out into the barrier, and the race falls apart.
You hate to see that happen in contact between the podium positions. Pollock there able to walk away relatively unscathed. He has got Cavisto now about a half second behind him.
Wow. That just completely unraveled. So Pavel is up into second and pretty clear of Kavisto, but not completely. He's still on his tail, as there is our leader, Tom Daly, who has got an even bigger gap with that stuff. We had some replays that we wanted to show. I'm not sure if we still want to try and run to them or not here, because this battle for P2 could seem like it could suddenly explode at any moment.
It very well could, Joe. And don't forget here, Xavi Lopez about a second and a half behind Kavisto. So if this squabble really intensifies, Lopez may be able to close back in on the back of this and make this another battle with another car.
Yeah, that 9 car was down to 6th place at one point. He's back up to 4th, looking at a potential podium now. And no attack down into Foster's as Kavisto cannot get by Pavel. And wow, so honestly, and many of our replays are a bit of a moot point at this stage because everybody's changed positions since we wanted to try and check on that. Wow. Okay, trying to collect myself here. We have had some big movers in the meantime. Amanula Bacchus in 11th is up 13 positions, so a huge kudos to him. Zemansky in 19th is up 12 spots. So there are those that have been able to weave through the chaos to try and work their way through the field.
Yes, there are a lot of drivers being able to take advantage of others' misfortune. Oh, that is a big off. That is a damaged car already.
Who is that we just saw off?
It's Zegalar.
Oh, no. And, well, ironically, he was the one that started that very first incident at the end of lap 1. So what happened to him here as we continue to watch the battle for second place? Yeah, okay, so it looks like Zegalar made contact into the side of a spinning Davila. Lopez now having issues.
Yeah, Lopez around there at the exit of Foster's. That's going to promote Stephen Orrell up into P4. A little bit of a battle there. That was Sousa and Lopez. Sousa able to get by him as Lopez was getting up to speed.
And I was just talking about it was Davila that made the contact with Zegalar. That was Davila that made contact with Lopez. Oh, Lopez down to 7th. And he's sitting behind Sousa now there in the number 65. 6 laps to go. And this is all kinds of topsy-turvy. This is, I don't know if they'll want to come back to this race next season. This track has put on a show, but a bit of a wild show.
Exactly. This is a bit of a grab onto the saddle and hold on for dear life kind of race here at this point. But Daly up ahead. I've got to give credit here to Pollock. He's been able to close that gap down. It was at about 5.5 seconds. It's down to about 4.7 right now. I don't think that's going to be enough to be able to close it in and make this a true battle, but Pollock clearly has some speed underneath him.
Well, and don't forget, he's got Kavisto behind him. Kavisto should be getting a whiff of that slipstream and be able to try and reel him in. And looking a little bit farther back here, this is... this was the battle. I think that was Elliott trying to come back through. Oh, and a pass for position as Sousa finds Lopez sneaking by before they head into Druids.
Yeah, and remember that is Lopez recovering from that error that he had earlier, the tangle with the lap traffic, trying to look a little bit of this way, and that is Sousa to see if he could do anything. I don't think so. I don't think Sousa's got the speed.
No. Just doesn't seem like it. Amazingly, Lopez still does after having multiple problems today and still running in that 6th position. Let's get back to Kavisto here because he's now on the back of Pollock. And here we go. He's got it down to 0.3 of a second, riding on board with the Finn, looking forward. 4 laps left. He could have a shot at this, but he's going to have to set it up right.
Yes, he will. Trying to see what he can do here. Not going for an aggressive move there necessarily into Druids. I like that decision from him. Just try to see if he can maybe force an error out of the Polish driver ahead of him, or potentially just try to send a good dive here going through Lodge or maybe even Old Hall.
No dive that time down into Lodge, but a better exit than Pollock had, as he's once again right on top of him. He's going to look to the inside. Is Pavel going to try and block it? He does half-heartedly, straightens off the entry, so not a real defense, also not a real attack. Here we go. Great run from Callie. He's now got it overlapped, but it's going to weave back to the left-hand side when they come through Cascades, and he loses out.
Not able to get it done there, but very late onto the binders in a later apex there. A little bit of a defensive line from Pavel trying to hold him off. And with 2 to go at the line, that is exactly the kind of line he needs to be running to keep Kali Kavisto behind him.
And up in front of this, Daly still running at about 5 seconds ahead of the 71, just trying to keep it steady, knowing he could take this win as long as these two keep fighting like this. And as they come down under the bridge, under the Warwick Bridge and into Lodge, a big defense from Pavel. He doesn't feel safe anymore. He's seen little looks here and there from the number 1, and he is completely shallow through the corner. Kavisto, though, doesn't seem to gain, which is mysterious.
Very, very strange. I'm not sure if that is a deliberate back off, if he doesn't want to give Pavel the chance to maybe re-attack him here, or what it is. Both drivers running a little bit wide, but a good run there for Kavisto.
Good run, but he's not side by side like he was before. And no, not able to do anything down into Foster's. We're at 2 to go. Will we see these two swap positions one more time before the checkered flag? A lap and a half to try and decide P2.
Exactly, Daly. They're way up ahead. Pollock trying to pull out the best that he can. He's got a little bit of lap traffic to work around. That's the 20. Tries to dive down to the inside. There's contact!
Oh, and it nearly runs into Kavisto, too. It was Davila again. Oh, and up alongside. This gives some momentum. The Finn, it manages to get up alongside him, and once again, we see leaders coming together. And that is going to slow them down massively. What damage is on the car? Pollock is able to get rolling. So is Kavisto, but Stephen Orrell and Stefan Alderling are quickly coming up to them.
I think they were able to get those cars up to speed to prevent a massive attack here from Orrell, but he's gaining in less than a second back now as they start to break for old holes on the final lap.
It's been a messy one up at the front as the leaders have multiple times now come together, made contact, spinning off, and at times taking each other out of contention. Meanwhile, Tom Daly in front of this group is coming up and over Clay Hill and now through Water Tower. Here we go, just 2 more corners for Tom Daly, and he is not only able to take the win, but extend his points lead.
Yes, he is. Daly doing a great job here. Only really 1 more corner to go for the 67. Just focusing here ahead before he runs to the line.
Unfazed, 12 seconds back to the nearest rival. Tom Daly is your winner here today at Oulton Park. Impressive stuff behind him. Pollock is looking to take second, and it looks like it is a battle for third as Kavisto is a little slow. Pollock is going to be able to take second. Third is Kavisto as Orrell couldn't attack enough. Alderding took P5.
Yes, he did. A big gaggle behind them as well. Looks like Lopez able to stem the bleeding at 6th place. Sousa behind him.
Some more of them come across the line. Line astern, Marimon and Mann separated by less than half a second for 14th. And I think that may be it. No, a little bit of an off from Van Rassel. Keep it together. Zemansky with 1 more position before he finishes it out. And Van Rassel settles for the last on the lead lap. No, it's Albino actually behind him for 19 cars here to finish today. That's going to take us to a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Oulton Park. There was no time to breathe at all during that thing. My goodness, at the end of it all, Tom Daly came away the winner. Pavel Pollock was in second as Kalle Kavisto amazingly finished where he began. Stephen Orrell was P4 as Stefan Alderding up 10 spots to get fifth. Our pole sitter, Xavi Lopez, could not keep it together, wound up in sixth position. Nuno Sousa was P7. Michael Ellett, the other driver on the front row, wasn't even within the top five. He finished eighth today. Jordan and Zvedanov was ninth, and Patrick Alders up 7 spots to take 10th.
James Austin, after having a rough little bit of qualifying there at the beginning, was able to come home in 11th, followed by Alvaro Rodriguez, with Amanula Bacchus in 13th and Pedro Marimon in 14th. Mackenzie Mann came home in 15th, followed by Peter Reed and Jacob Szymanski, who was up 14, your biggest mover on the day. Willem van Rassel was 18th, followed by Bruno Albino and Xander Ver, rounding out your top 20 one lap down.
After that, it was David Mitchell in 21st, Kalle Rantanen in 22nd. Victor Oliveira was P23. Brett Ride, last one lap down in 24th. Martin Smith, 2 laps behind the leaders in P25. Rene Zegelar, in multiple incidents, wound up 26. And then from there, you had drivers with really bad days, 6 and 7 laps down, including Rennie Ware, 16 laps down, and definitely some DNFs mixed in amongst them. But it looks like we have our third place finisher, Kalle Kavisto, going to join us here today, hopefully shedding some light on what it's like on the ground, battling out there. Kalle, my goodness, we couldn't catch our breath that entire race. What was it like from inside the car?
Yeah, that was very, very chaotic. Like, I almost got to keep my car untouched, but then it was the second last lap I had that incident with the Polish driver, but yeah, there was everything happening all over the place, so it was very, very chaotic and hard to keep up with the race myself.
It looked like it. In the end, you did at least get third place. Talk about dealing with the traffic as well. It looked like that became quite a bit of an issue, especially towards the end, and kind of defined some of the finishing positions.
Yeah, I think today for my teammate, for example, for Michael Ellett, who was in front of me for a long time, me and him, we kind of lost a lot of time due to the traffic, but that's just the nature of the track and nature of the league, so we all know it, and it's just name of the game, so it is what it is.
I like the pragmatic view on it. Sometimes that stuff happens. Now that we finally have put this one behind us, though, when we head off to Lime Rock Park, where we will have a slightly similar issue, but hopefully a little bit more familiar track. Are you looking forward to the Connecticut circuit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really good to be back. It feels like it was only three weeks ago when we had the second race, but it feels a long time, so it's good to be back. And I'm not quite sure, but is it in 2 weeks' time, the next race?
Yeah, sorry, apologies. 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, another podium. Is there anybody you'd like to thank that helped make this one possible?
Yeah, my teammate, Michael is such a gentleman. I don't know if you noticed, but when we were driving, when Michael was leading and there was Tom Daly between us and I was alongside Tom, so I think Michael moved to the right of the racing line to give me tow, and that's just like the IQ, like very clever thing to do. Such a good racing driver. And of course, Sandro Vare organizing the league and you guys commentating.
Well, thank you very much. That was Kelly Cavisto, who finished third today. Up next, it looks like DJ's caught up with our winner and points leader, Tom Daly.
Indeed, Tom, the first half of that race, a little bit chaotic for you, and then you just started to pull away. Talk me through that one.
Yeah, so started qualified in P7 and just raced away from Dale. Pack was nice and tight for the first few laps. We've had a little contact with Sander, my own fault there, diving in too deep, and just managed to keep battling one-on-one up to follow Mike Elliott for a few laps and managed to get the pass on him. And then I just kept working hard, trying to put time in between us. Luckily, it paid off.
It certainly did. Talk to me about navigating through some of that lap traffic, because it was very difficult for some of your competitors and definitely caught them out.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. Sometimes you think they're leaving a gap when they're not, and it can get a bit chaotic at times, definitely.
Well, speaking of chaos, we sort of head to a similar circuit in terms of the length and just how quick everything's going to fly at you in the form of Lime Rock next time out. Do you like your chances there? You think you're going to be able to continue on this winning streak?
I plan on it. Time will only tell.
Well, time will tell indeed, my friend. Anybody you want to thank for this victory here today?
All friends and family at home and everyone at Team Wampy Motorsport.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That was Tom Daly, your victor here today. Joe?
So that's going to wrap us up. So we want to thank, of course, our sponsor before we take off, the Majors Garage. Make sure and check out the link in the description and use our discount code MajorsGSRC to get 10% off your order. Also, thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work. Thanks to the team today, DJ Zach and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Check out our merchandise stores at, gsrc.storenvy.com. There's also a link in the description below to make that nice and easy for you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. As we mentioned, at Lime Rock Park, Sunday, March 6th, 2 weeks from now at 5 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And if you haven't had enough Daytona yet today, if you've been watching the 500, don't forget that the Precision Racing League NASCAR Cup Series is there today at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.